Hello there. So we're well into autumn. It's very beautiful, you know, if you're able to see it in the 3 hours of daylight that you get. Even the trees, they've decided that it's not cost efficient to keep their solar panels anymore, and so they're just flinging them all over the floor. I like my daylight. There's not much of it, and it's really cold. Due to that, I've decided that I'm going to build a little mental health retreat, and if you enjoy moderately decent builds with disordered commentary, do subscribe. So I've found this really nice little ocean view lot here, because the ocean I think is, well, it's meant to be very good for your mental health, isn't it? Seeing the ocean. I believe that places that are near the coast have much better mental health than areas that aren't. But I have my mannequin here, who's helping me out because I'm too stupid to understand the scale of things on an empty lot. But I'm starting off, and I'm doing quite a bit of roof work on this one. I'm going to utilize these roofs as windows, because what I want to do in this is get a lot of light in. I personally find that light is really beneficial to my mental health. And I also want a lot of light in this because I'm going to place quite a lot of plants in here too. I'm a big advocate of plants. And bringing nature indoors, considering we're sort of getting rid of all the green spaces everywhere else. We're having to... it's a bit of a craze of bringing the plants indoors now. So we're going with that. And yeah, so I'm sloping these roofs and aligning them, and I'm using the glass window swatch, getting the light in. I do wish the lighting was a little better. The lighting engine in this game is a bit temperamental, and it gets more temperamental the more things that are added into this lot. But I sort of synthetically try and alter that. As you can see, I've used this platform. Well, it's not a platform; it's a foundation actually, around the edge, and I'm building up the terrain, because what I want to do here is have very open plan living area with the kitchen and, you know, like workspace, creative space, living space, all of that open plan. And then I want the bedroom to be underground. And I wasn't quite sure how to do this. As you can see, I've made a little balcony area. I didn't keep that bit of the recording in because I scrapped that. But as we go along, I'll sort of figure out how I'm going to do that underground bit. I had to do a bit of improvising. But I'm using these archways on the walls of the roofs, because obviously you can't delete that wall. Is another very annoying thing in the game. Why can I not delete the roof walls? Please, I could in The Sims 3, I'm absolutely certain of it, but I can't do it in this one, so I'm having to use an archway with move objects on, obviously. And then I'm using these wall panels. I use a lot of CC in this build. You could sort of call it just like a CC build as well, because I think there's actually very few actual game items in here. I really wanted to see what CC I'd collected over the time and utilize it. A lot of CC gives you the options to sort of do things like I just did with the sort of making a little wall piece. And then I had the CC here that is some aerial like window tiles that I put on the roof to get light into the bathroom. As that little nook there is going to be the bathroom. I made a platform where the kitchen's going to be, and I'm just lowering down these archways with the tool mod because they got bumped up a bit. And then I'm putting in some stairs here because I wanted another little sort of wooden platform. It scooched that archway along, so I had to fix that. I've placed some doors, a few different ones, and I'm using these windows by Charlie Pancakes. Maple construction windows, I believe they're called. They're one of my favorites. They come in some really nice shapes. And I'm really looking like, where's the light coming in here? How do I want this to work? As you can see, it's quite extreme, the sort of light and dark. I do use some lights a bit later on to try and address that a bit. Bump the foundation up in the bathroom. And now I'm just making a little entrance area here. This lot isn't connected to the road, which is a bit odd, so I wasn't really sure how to connect it to the outside world. I've sort of just, in the end, use the terrain paint to sort of blend it in with the outside. But the sim just sort of spawns there down next to the road, which has a huge drop. So whether they've just climbed down off the road to get here, I don't know, but there we go. Here we go, yeah, lighting it up with a few different things, getting some lights in, using that, get to work unlockable one, which I then I moved a sim in here and then didn't have access to that because it's locked. I think I could have used a cheat to unlock it, but whatever. So I got rid of these windows. I'm making a little nook here. This is going to be a little reading nook. And this bit's inspired by when I went on holidays in Portugal into a villa, and it had this little like wall seat reading nook, and it was really nice. Very tranquil with all these views of like foliage and things, because I think that's really good for mental health, to be able to look outside and just see nature, even in this time of year where it's all giving up on life. But, and this is also a little bit inspired by a sort of woodland lodge, maybe like a Centre Park style woodland lodge, because if I ever go there, I always feel very tranquil in like the forest and nature and things. But yeah, I wanted this to be very open plan. I'm using some curtain rails here to, well, the plan is I'm gonna elevate these curtain rails, and then I'm gonna put some hanging plants on this bit here, so you can have this little reading nook with some hanging plants. It took a little bit of nudging around to do this, because when I lined them up, they would then move a pixel, and I had to sort of amend that by deliberately putting them one pixel incorrectly, and then they would move that pixel that they shouldn't be doing into the correct place. It was very odd. The more things I do in this, the more, as usual, it starts to get a little bit buggier. The game just can't handle it, so I'm having to try and figure out what to do here. And then I'm just using some of these blinds, which I scale down using the tool mod, because I tried to overlap them first, but it was doing that texture fighting thing, so I had to figure out how to get them to be a size where they weren't going to overlap. So I just used the tool mod to do that. But yeah, this is going to be a nice little reading look. You can see out the window already. That's a really nice, just nature-filled view. I could sit here and it would just be so tranquil, so nice on a day where I'm feeling like absolute miserable because of the time of year. But this is going to be all very open plan. And the reason I wanted this to be open plan is, especially for my mental health, I find that if things are open plan, I do a lot more. I'm a lot more productive if I have an open plan place. And I've realized that recently from moving from an apartment to a house. Now that I'm in a house, I feel like I walk through a doorway into another room and I've just instantly forgotten like what I'm doing, who I am. And I believe there's actually like a psychological thing regarding this, in that if you walk through like a threshold into another environment, your brain's sort of just like a soft reset. Because in nature, obviously environments go on for vast distances. So when you change from one environment to another, it often comes, in nature with a whole different bunch of other obstacles and threats and things. And your brain has to switch to sort of like a different mode in order to survive in a different environment. However, that then works to a complete disadvantage in domestic life, because we see different bedrooms and things, like different rooms in a house is different environments. So our brains do this soft reset, which is completely detrimental to us, because then that's why you walk through into another room and you've completely forgotten what you've even gone in there for. It's because your brain's done this soft reset. So to try and amend that in this mental health retreat, I'm just trying to make it as open plan as possible, to sort of limit that occurrence, like psychological occurrence of your brain just forgetting what the hell you're meant to be doing, which happens to me all of the time here in this new house. So I'm working on the bathroom here, and I'm using a few different custom pieces to make a little like wall. I nudged these around a bit. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted the setup to be. It's also quite small, so I needed to make sure that I made this in a way that, it can have this nice custom doorway, but the sim needs to also be able to get into it. So yeah, I move these things around a little bit, but I'm using very natural textures, stone tiles. Obviously there's a lot of wood, the rest of the house is wood. I do think that all of these very like natural textures, natural materials really help with mental health. I feel like as humans, we've only recently sort of moved into this domestic lifestyle, and we trick ourselves into thinking that we're like a separate thing from nature now, because we're quite big-headed as a species. but I don't think you can really fight those sort of like biological rules and behavioral patterns that have occurred through thousands of years of evolution in the wild, and just expect them to fall away and for mental health to be good when we've made all of these synthetic constructs now. And that's why I think we really need to push on. I'm sort of building a house that I think this is the kind of house that we should build. I think houses should be built with natural materials, and I feel like they should be built with lots of light, and they should be built with a place where you can like bring nature indoors too. I think that's something we should sort of push for mental health. We're just here like drugging everyone. Be like, oh yeah, if you have mental health problems, it's sort of like, oh yeah, it's because of your behavior, and it's just, you know, one of those things, you just have poor mental health and you need to take these SSRIs or SNRIs or whatever, and that will make you better. And obviously like that is the case, those things do help. But I also do think that a huge part of why so many mental health issues are now occurring is because we have moved away from nature so much, which we're designed to be in nature. However much we like to pretend that because we're in society, we're just like above that now. I don't think, you know, we can make society in a few hundred years, but it doesn't mean our brain's going to evolve to accept that within a few hundred years. So that's sort of the concept that I'm going with here. I'm just thinking about all of those things. Like if we were going to build and we were going to sort of really take those principles of nature and build in a way that our brain wants to, is an environment that our brains want to live in. That's sort of what I've done here. So I'm on the kitchen now using some custom content. I really love that sink. I love a sink that sort of overflows out of the kitchen counter. I really like those. There's really deep ones. But yeah, this kitchen here is a little bit based on the Woodland Lodge kitchens in Center Parcs as well, because they're quite space efficient. I just found some cushions. We need some nice cushions, lots of comfort. And then, as you can see, I have these. Well, there's sort of like two areas where the roof slopes down, and windows. The window roof, glass roof, whatever you want to call that. There's this narrow one here in the kitchen, and then there's the larger one, that's sort of in the living space. And I was wondering what to do with those. I wanted to have those as sort of almost like built-in greenhouses. That was my way of bringing nature indoors, is to have these sort of built-in greenhouses, and that there'd be a space you can walk into and sort of be in nature when the nature outside is just dying. Because it's autumn and all of the plants hate it. Yeah, sure, they're all a nice... Why do we find autumn so nice? It's literally like, everyone's like, oh my god, the leaves on the trees are all so pretty and red and orange. And I'm like, you do realize that's because they're just dead, right? It's the color of death. You do know that, right? But anyway, doing some shelf work here in the kitchen. And that little tile thing, that's another CC thing. Another thing that CC does really well are these wall pieces. There's so many like wall packs for building different styles that EA have actually, I don't know, they haven't thought about doing something like that in their packs. So it's really nice to use those. You get all sorts of different architectural effects that you can't actually do in game unless you have CC like this. So I'm putting in some lights here because, as I said earlier, it was getting a bit like too light in some places, too dark in others. So I've placed these little saucer lights, and I've done it so that if you then went up and you saw the roof, they're sort of underneath the one bit that's a beam between the two connective roof parts, because I didn't want floating lights everywhere, which is why they're a bit restricted to that sort of like one line in the build. But now I'm making this elevated platform area. I wanted the TV. I did try around with some like TV stands, but I decided I wanted to do something a little more custom, which is why I'm now having this problem with the TV doing like a rave dance everywhere. But it looked nice in the end, but I wanted it to be a bit more built-in, a little bit more custom, so I made this platform area. Sized the TV down just a little bit because it was overhanging, and I wanted to build a wall behind it without it peeking through. Now I did make this wooden bit above the TV. It took me a long time, but I didn't show you because obviously here I've just yoinked it out of the way to do it with another little wall piece that I've got, another wooden wall piece. I did think about trying to do some kind of shelf in the middle there, but in the end I realized I didn't actually have anything triangular to do that, so I just cover it in the end. But I'm now extending that platform, and I want this bit to be a sort of like desk work area. But before that, I'm just doing this little living room area. Got these sofas out, these sort of modular, look very comfy, these sofas. I wanted to pick a sofa that's really comfortable. So when you're having like, you've come here as, this is your little mental health retreat, you've just got this, all these comfy, nice little bright places in the living area. No one likes a hard sofa. There's so many hard, uncomfortable sofas. Like, why would you buy that? I'm not sitting on that. I need a sofa that you sink into it and you could just fall asleep on it. That's my kind of sofa. Yeah, so here we are. I'm doing this office-y sort of area. Again, it's still open plan. So you can go up here and you're in this open plan area. We're not moving through a doorway and forgetting what we're doing when we go to do work. But so I'm using the kitchen wall cabinets to create this sort of built-in desk space area, and I'm doing it up on this platform. I wanted a bit of elevation difference in this build, and I'm connecting some shelves to it too. I think those shelves are actually part of the kitchen pack. Some CC do like kitchen counters that are just shelves, so you can blend them in nicely like this. And I've just nudged that desk under there, and I'm just going to use a basic desk chair. There's so many desk chairs in this game, and I get them out and I'm like, no one has a desk chair like this. Everyone just has the same looking desk chair. Why are there all these weird looking desk chairs? I'm gonna light this up a bit, and then we're gonna move into the bedroom. So this is the bit that's gonna be underground, so we've got no windows, and I wanted this underground because I feel like, again, obviously I've thought a lot about, you know, how human beings would be in nature and all of the things we've built like architecturally and societally now that really don't make sense for our brains. And one of the things is, I feel like if I'm having a bad time with my mental health, I just want to sort of seclude myself. Or if there was a cave available, I would just go into the cave. And I feel like that's quite a natural behavior. So for the bedroom, I wanted it to almost be like in a cave. I think we would have, you know, slept in caves and things. So now that we just sleep in these bright rooms is a bit odd to me. So I wanted to make this underground bedroom, and that's what I'm working on now. No windows. Obviously, it's going to have lights in it. It's not meant to be pitch black or anything like that. But I just wanted to build something that would feel very safe, very secluded. Something that you could just come in here and you can feel at peace. And this is the one room that there is a threshold, and so you walk through into the bedroom, and this is the room where you sort of want that psychological switch to flip. You don't want to be thinking about work and things you want to be doing. This is the bedroom space. This is the sleeping space. This is the chill space. You want to walk through that doorway, forget what it is you're worried about, just crawl into this bed. And if you want to, you can then pull this little divider across to and have even more of a like safe little cave-like space. Maybe that's just me. Maybe some people like being in an open bedroom with lots of light, but like when I'm all comfy cozy, I just want to be in this little like cave den thing. So I'm using these curtain rails again. I'm putting this up here because I want to hang some plants from this. And then I'm using this end piece because it has this little wall bracket sort of thing on it. When I place that wall back in, it doesn't quite reach the rail, so I use this one, and then that nice little bracket sort of slots into the walls. Nudge it up a bit to align it. You know, it's funny because my last two builds have been, you know, like branded ones, big branded ones, Starbucks and McDonald's. I felt like they took me quite a while. It took me a really long time because I had to work really hard to get them to look like the reference images, so that when people watch them, they could, you know, see that it's a Starbucks and a McDonald's, not just a shoddy attempt at making a random cafe in a fast food restaurant. But I did this build too because I was like, you know what, this one's gonna be more chill. It's gonna be quicker, and I'm not following reference images, so I can sort of just do what I want. And almost the opposite happened. This took me longer than those other builds, and I don't know whether it's because having to sort of make it up on my own, I was a bit more indecisive. That was potentially one of the reasons it took me longer. or whether it was because I was specifically trying to make this sort of like a mental health retreat, and I feel very strongly about environment and mental health. Whether that made me even more picky about it, I'm not sure. But this did take me quite a while. I think I had almost like 50% more footage to go through than I did for the McDonald's and the Starbucks build, which was crazy because look how small this is in comparison. I mean, I am making it quite detailed, and I'm doing a lot of custom things, which was, you know, took up a lot of time, but it was worth it. It was nice. It came out nice at the end, I think. But I'm just going through changing the wood. The wood was feeling a bit cold. I wanted this cozier sort of wood vibe. And I'm going to go through and put some rugs down too. I didn't want to use carpet. Well, that's a lie. I did want to use carpet for some points in this build, but the carpets in this game, I don't have any CC carpet swatches. I need to get some. But the base carpet in this game, the texture on it is so bad. I cannot bring myself to use it. So I had to use using these carpets instead. And just placing them around. And I cut out all the bits where I was indecisive and got out about 20 different carpet rugs before deciding which one to use. Now these are some CC shelves, and I really love these because they're like the hanging ones that have a rail on them that attaches to the ceiling. And I really wanted to do this over the counter because I want this to be like a plant shelf. So I'm just raising these up here with the 9 key and making sure that they line up with this beam in the roof. Obviously, I don't want it to look like I've screwed something into a glass roof. So I line that up there, and I think it looks really nice. I really love this this shelf piece of custom content. But yeah, as you can see, I'm really making sure it lines up well. And I'm going to use some wooden slats. A favorite item of mine, these wooden slats, very versatile. And sizing them down with the tool mod a bit. And sorry, I didn't size them down with the tool mod, I just sized them down with the bracket keys in game, but then I'm lowering them into the floor a bit with the tool mod, just to make this custom edge to this shelf area that I've made. And then as you can see, I also put in a sort of lattice divider where there was a wall in the entrance too. And here I am covering up that bit where I had tried to do a shelf but couldn't think of how to do that. Now this bit was really annoying, this bit didn't work properly. So yeah, placing this extra, well, it's not a wall piece, it's just a tile backdrop. But I wanted to then place one of those custom like wood panels that I've been using around there behind that to make sort of a custom wood wall. And you can see, I think the problem was that it wanted to delete that counter and it didn't do it when I placed the wall. And it screwed up the whole build. So what I've cut out is that actually like, oh, it was a complete mess. It wouldn't delete the wall again afterwards. And then I didn't save it and came back to try and amend that. And it had dropped the entire room, the entire platform. It had got rid of a bunch of walls. I had to fix it all. It was a mess. And that's what I was sort of saying earlier, you know, the more detail I add, I feel like it gets more and more glitchy every time I build. Just have to deal with it. It's bad, but whatever. I fixed it. It came out okay. So as you can see here now, I've gone through. I didn't show you me placing all of these plants because there's quite a few in there. I'm just gonna go around and show you like how I've done all the arrangements. And again, these are a lot of CC plants, a lot of climbing vines, trailing ones. This one that trails down over this shelf is so nice. I really love that one. But I've done that, and I'm gonna move outside, and I'm really gonna start working on this underground section, and that's like underground in quotation marks because, you know, you can't actually build the ground up to a wall in this game. You can only do it with a foundation. So this is really an underground facade, but this is sort of like the best way I figured I could do it, and it was using these plants. Using this, I think it's a flower actually, even though it doesn't really look like it, but this flower sort of floor covering tile to go up to the walls, and obviously it has that space beneath it, but I'm just going to cover all of that up with hedges and different plant textures. This hedge here from oh, that's actually base game, it's not Get Together. But this one here that's sort of in a concrete square plant is really nice because it has a lot of foliage for covering things, but it's not got any pieces to sort of like fly out all over the place to then clip through walls and things. Because it was obviously important for me while placing all of this foliage that I don't have anything that then leaks through a wall into the bedroom that's meant to be underground beneath it. So these a lot of these neat looking hedge pieces came in really handy for doing this. Now I do use this topiary square piece. In the end I get rid of that and replace it all with that sort of just base flower floor tile covering. But I did use it here to sort of go around. I think initially I wanted it to look a bit more pruned, a little more like the grass has been well cared for, but then I was like, you know what, this is meant to be sort of like a nature build, not a synthetic nature build. So I ended up changing that and getting the more natural looking floor tile back in again. But I'm just layering up with all of these hedges. As you can see, I've used one of those debug hedges to sort of make a wall, a barrier to the get a sort of height that I want the ground to look like it's elevated to. So I got that big hedge out, and now I'm just floating all of these smaller hedges to sort of fill in that space, fill in that ground in quotation marks, because it's not, it's just all plants. And then I'm tearing it down with some smaller hedges, sizing them down sort of like one by one with just the in-game sizing up and down keys, the square brackets. And I'm obviously floating most of these plants up from the ground too, using the 9 key to have it all look like it's all gradually traveling uphill in these layers. And I'm getting a few different hues of green in here too, to make it look more natural, because it was looking a bit too green. And obviously again, I wanted it just to sort of look a bit, I wanted this to look just a really nice cute plant arrangement, but also just like moderately, very mildly weedy. Like, I don't want it to be too looked after. I want it to look like genuine nature. So now I'm going around, and as you can see, I've got rid of that topiary, and I've replaced it all with this floor covering. It looks a lot more natural, I think. And then I've just where the platform was, the balcony area was, I've just filled that with the grass floor tile. So I'm going around and I'm curving it around a bit again to make it just look like a little bit more natural, even though this edge here is the one part that has obviously been cared for to make this like platform space. But I really wanted this space here where the bedroom's underneath it, but I really like the idea of it actually being sort of garden on this second floor. So I've done that there, and to make that even more the case, to make it look even more naturally like this is just outdoors, I'm just going to place a couple trees up here. And I thought these turned out really cute. They really finish off that look of making this feel like it's just a hill, and that the house is built into the hill and it's just coming out of the hill and curving round, sort of like trying to be this piece of architecture that works with nature and instead of trying to fight nature. So I've just come back in again. I'm going to do a few curtains. It was the one thing I realized that I'd sort of overlooked in this build, because we want lots of light coming in here, but we don't want to feel like we can't close the curtains and have no privacy. So yeah, just using some custom pieces to make that happen. Floating them up with the 9 key. Taking again that blind and putting it in the entrance. And then these curtains here are really nice because they come with this opaque version and also then this like translucent version too, which is really nice for privacy and letting your light through at the same time. So here we go. I've done a bit of extra work here just to finish off. I've done this obviously this wall piece with ivy. I've gone around the rest of the build and just done some sort of natural looking shrub arrangements just to try and blend the building with nature a bit. I love the view through that window. That's so nice. Coming around, and we have this part here where nature bleeds in. We've got the little plant room. Inside we have, obviously see I've cluttered it a lot more, that random naked man on TV. There we go. Of course that happened during my cinematic capture. Like, what else? Of course. This area here, I've got all these hanging plants. It looks so cozy. I really want to be here. I'm really happy how this turned out. I would absolutely feel just really tranquil and very productive here as well. And I gave this some lot traits too. Some, you know, very chill, productive lot traits. Kitchen here, I've added a few bits and pieces too. I didn't want to overclutter the kitchen because obviously they still need to cook in the kitchen. But there we go. Some wall paintings again. I think they're mostly CC ones. And then I added this nice little rail here in the bedroom just to add a bit of looking like it's lived in a bit with the clothes hangers. But there we go. This is my little mental health retreat. I would really like to be here right now instead of trapped where I currently am, where it's just cold right now and dark. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be kind to yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.